we've hit a rough patch. There's no doubt about it. The biggest thing is that we just cannot allow ourselves to lose confidence, and we've got to get over the hump, right? We've got to get over the hump. There were so many good things that we did the other night, and then it steamrolled against us, and we never got momentum back. As I said, after that game at the press conference, we lost momentum, and we were never able to get it back. In the game, momentum's always up for grabs, and we got to find a way to get it back. But we've got to come up. We got to play with edge. We got to play with energy. Tomorrow, in playing with Texas A&M, they are without question one of the hardest playing teams that our guys will see. And Buzz worked for me for a year at Marquette. Got the job at Marquette when I went to Indiana. I'm well aware of what kind of coach he is, well aware of what kind of leader he is, the passion that he instills in his team, and he's got those guys playing really, really hard. And we've got to play not only hard, but we got to play smart, because I'm not sure there's a team that I haven't seen anybody that gets more charges than this team gets right now, and how they rally to the ball and how they want to play the pace of the game to the way they want to play it. That gives them the best chance to win. And they're battle tested. So we've got to come out with that edge. We've got to come out with that desire and hunger. And we've got to come out with a lot of intelligence and make the next pass and make it quickly and adjust to how the game is going and try to get our pace of the game to go where we want it to go as well.
Coach, I'm not sure I've seen a line from a player of that ilk as blank as what Rayshawn Hammonds did in the first half out there. What did the tape tell you about his half out there, and how does that happen?
He just got to be more aggressive. He's just got to be more aggressive, and I think he will be. And I think that's what we have to focus on. I think we got to focus on everything that makes him be aggressive, keeps him moving, and not overdwell on that, right? Not overdwell as a coaching staff or as a coach the player type of thing. But I can always say to the players too, you got to be a participant in your own rescue, right? Like they teach you now when you fall out of a boat, okay, don't wait for somebody to pull you back into the boat. I mean, you've got to really do a good job of getting leverage to get back on it. And I think that's sports. That's a metaphor for life, right? Like you've got to step back up and go. And I think that's a huge thing there. But I'm confident that he will.
What's Severe Wheeler dealing with now? Is he out?
We're hopeful of what we're going to see. We're going to see. He did some yesterday, and we're hopeful that he's going to be better today.
What was the latest?
It's just an upper body injury that was sustained in practice the other day. So hopefully he'll be better. But he definitely looked better. He's getting better, and hopefully he'll be fine. But we'll see. I don't know yet.
Do you think too much pressure was put on Anthony from the outside of y'all's offices as far as what people expected him to do?
Well, there's always going to be that. Yeah, I mean, I think that's just part of the – I don't think there's any way around that. Right? I don't think there's any way around that, but it's not like that in here for him. We don't coach it like that. And so that's, I think that if you're doing it in-house, that's self-inflicted pressure, right? And nobody's doing that. I mean, we need him to get better. We're trying to teach him, help him grow every day, help him see what's there, and understand that. And it's not that complicated at times. The rim is there, go get it, right? And if the shot is there, take it. The next pass is there, make it. And just really for him sustaining intensity and concentration longer, and just continuing to play harder longer. That's one of the biggest things. That's the stuff. It's not a big picture thing for me. It's all about where we're at that particular day and what we got to get better at.
Did you all decide as a staff to play him more minutes, or was that just a one-game thing?
No, just what it was. And it was the pace of the game a little bit. I'm not sure if it was good or if it was bad, right? And he had to play at the end of the game that he went up and they just blocked the shot, right? So I don't know if it was a fatigue thing. I think it was just a read of the game. There's definitely, anytime you win or lose, there's things you wish you'd have done differently. I mean, and that's where I always start. And wish we'd have made more shots at the end. Wish we'd have guarded the dribble better. Things that hurt us came back and got us. Rebounding, playing with edge, guarding the dribble, and then we missed some shots, right? We overpassed a few times. Some of our decision making wasn't as good. But that was a one-game thing. That wasn't anything that was in my mind that I thought about before. It just happened that way.
How are you holding up?
Yeah, it's the next day, right? I mean, you just got to keep getting better at it. I mean, constantly. That's the bottom line. I mean, we have an extremely young team that does not understand a lot about this game. And there's so many things that they have to learn about intensity, about concentration, focus, time and score situations. We've done some really good things. I mean, we're in a bit of a rut, and we just got to pull ourselves out of it. And we practice that way, and that's why we're going to need the home fans. This is how you build a program. Really, at the end of the day, we're smack dab in the middle of building a program, and it's the middle of year 2, or 3/4 of the way, whatever it is, in the time frame of it. That's where we're at. We're building the program, and the best way you build it is you're going to go through some tough stages, tough steps, and you got to have your fan base. You got to have everybody there right along the way with you to get through it. And I've been through it everywhere I've been. Numerous times you go through it. It happens every season, no matter where you're at. You're number 1 in the country. You lose a game, and it feels like you lost 8 in a row, right? I mean, it just happens. But we just got to dig through it, and that's the only way. But again, it's not put our head in the sand. I mean, it's all about, okay, what's solution based? What are we solution based on? Okay, here's the problem. Well, we got that. Let's go figure out the solution and find a couple of solutions, and always have enough that we can potentially go to. And that's where getting consistency from our team, on the defensive end, would really, really help us. That's where getting consistency from the rebounding would really, really help us. When 1 or 2 or 3 guys are not having good nights, now you're getting picked up in other places. And we just got to that's the number 1 thing we're missing as a team right now, is that level of consistency of guys night in and night out. It doesn't have to be great, okay, but it's got to be pretty good. And that's what we've got to get to.
As he goes through the season, how much do you think it's helped Anthony to have guards that are experienced, like Donnell and Jordan and Tyree, sort of talk to about, everything he's going through with expectations?
No, I don't know. Nobody's going through what he's going through. I mean, nobody's going through that. So I don't think there's any way nobody can prepare him for that. I try. I mean, I've been through some of that, but I mean, it's not like that. They just need to be his teammate, right? And that's all this is really about. Just be teammates. And he's a great teammate. And I'm sure they're very helpful. Right, I'm sure they are helpful. I'm sure they do try, but nobody's living his life, right? And it's come up like that. So like it just is what it is. I mean, nobody's coming in with that kind of bullseye on them, and so we just have to continue to work through it. And it's really not that hard. It's a matter of seeing what's there and taking advantage of it. And when he does that, he does a really good job. And it's when we start predetermining, or we make our mind up on something, or we settle, is where we get in trouble, or we don't stay as locked in as we need to do defensively. That's what it comes down to. But at the end of the day, we don't have anybody right now that you can point to and say, boy, they're never making a mistake defensively or offensively. That doesn't work that way either. So we just have to work through it. That's all it is.
You had a lot of praise after the game for Nico of Missouri.
I thought I thought he changed the game. And so did Pinson. But Nico, he just changed it with how hard he plays.
So what I was going to ask you is, when you look at adding a big for the next recruiting cycle, how confident are you can find someone?
Bigs? You meant bigs, right?
A big
or
bigs.
All right, plural. So we'll be actively recruiting, no doubt about that. I mean, we already are. We were last night. I mean, we are. So it's what's changed in recruiting is that you cannot panic, right? You cannot panic. And you cannot get overzealous in your pursuit and lose sight of something else, because they always said recruiting is a 365-day-a-year job. It's a 365-day-a-year change. Something's always going on with recruiting. You just have to stay true to it, and we'll figure it out from there. But I think when you build your program and you get into a school and you get into a league, and then you start to figure, okay, this is what we thought, but this is what it is. Okay, and so you take your blueprint that you have, and you're constantly adding or deleting from it, right? You're tweaking it, right? And looking, okay, this is what's really going to work. And it's as much the intangible stuff as it is the tangible. And I think we have to just really stay true to that.
What do you tell fans who might not be quite as patient or understand kind of what you're dealing with as far as the freshmen go?
It's year 2. We got 9 freshmen. I mean, look around the country and do a count on that. I mean, somebody research it. There can't be very many. Mm-hmm. It just is what it is. I mean, it's not like, hey, we had a good lead the other night, right? It's not like we're playing bad. The fans have been fantastic, and we just needed to continue. We're in the process of building a program, and it's change is painful, right? It's hard. We got guys out there that are trying to change the way they see the game. We got a bunch of guys who are trying to learn how they see the game. But we also got guys that are changing how they see the game and changing how they play, and that takes time and the expectations of what's expected of them. And it is what it is. I mean, it's in the midst of year 2, and we've just got to continue to. But again, I know this: there is no way you build it. There is no way you build it and build it up without that consistency of support. It just doesn't happen. And again, it's not like we're looking back on here and saying that Georgia basketball was having multiple years of success, so people got spoiled with it. They didn't. I'd like them to get spoiled with it, right? But it's going to take some time to get spoiled with it. It's going to take a little time for that, right? So we just got to continue to stay on where we're at and get this thing built up, and we need to build some traction, right? And the traction is get some wins and get our confidence up and get rolling.